What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's just Dhillon here. Have you ever wondered on how to buy your first ever rental property, but you don't know how to, you don't know where to start from, you don't have the contacts? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to know all of that and much more, because I've broken this video down into multiple steps that you guys can follow and you can actually buy your first ever rental property. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Alright guys, I've broken down this video into 9 different steps as I was mentioning earlier, so it's going to be easier for you guys to follow along the video. Now, the first step is understanding the whole buying process, understanding how mortgages work, understanding how realtors, mortgage brokers, insurance agents, all that kind of stuff, how do they work. So when you're actually going out there and putting offers on properties, it's easier for you because you already understand the whole process, viewing a property, writing offers, writing conditions on offers, removing those conditions, and actually ending up buying the property. So if you have any questions on how to go about getting familiarized on the whole home buying process, I've made a video that I'll link it right over here that you guys can go watch after this video. Alright, now that you're familiarized with the whole home buying process, the step 2 is again getting more and more knowledge in this particular field. So a great step that you're already doing is watching this video. However, with watching video, you should also read books, and the 2 books that I would recommend for you guys to check out is Real Estate Investing in Canada by Don Campbell, and the second book would be Rental Property Investing by Brandon Turner. Now that you have familiarized yourself with the whole home buying process, what is a mortgage broker, what is a realtor, and what kind of things are involved in the home buying process, now step number 3, which you can do conjunctively with step number 1 and step number 2, is building your credit. What is a good credit score here in Canada? Anything above a 680 is good. So you need to maintain a good credit score here in Canada to actually go and qualify for mortgages. So if you're already in Canada and you don't have a good credit score, I urge you to start working on your credit score, and I'm actually going to make later videos on how to start doing that. But if you have not arrived in Canada, I would say as soon as you arrive in Canada, start building your credit, because in the future that is going to pay dividends and help you qualify for mortgages, buy cars, all that kind of stuff, because in Canada you're just a number, which is your credit score. Now let's move into step 4, which is one question that not a lot of people ask themselves before buying a property, which is where do you want to live versus where can you afford to buy a property. So what do I mean by that? For the first question, where do I want to live? Let's say you guys are in Ontario and you guys want to live in Ontario. So you buy your principal residence in Ontario. However, the second consideration is, can you actually buy the second property in Ontario? Is that going to make sense? Are you going to cash flow on a month-to-month basis? If the answer to that is no, then you need to consider in which cities in Canada can I afford to buy a rental property. So for example, the place where I am right now in Winnipeg, rental properties can go anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000. A lot of rental properties are in the ranges of $200,000 to $250,000. So that might be a very affordable price range for you guys who are considering buying your first ever rental property. However, in places like Ontario or places like Vancouver, British Columbia, those kind of price ranges are not there to buy your first ever rental property. So those are the kind of considerations that you need to make before buying your first ever rental property is, can you actually afford to buy a second property in the province that you're living in right now? If you can, does that make sense? If that doesn't make sense, you need to start doing some research. Where can I actually afford to buy a second property that is actually going to cash flow each and every month, that is actually going to pay me instead of costing me money on a month-to-month basis? Now, tied to step number 4 is step number 5, which is where do you actually want to invest in? So after step number 4, we've decided that out of all the cities in Canada, there are 5 cities that I can afford to buy a rental property in. Now, step number 5 is deciding where do you actually want to invest in. Do you want to invest in Winnipeg? Do you want to invest in Calgary? Do you want to invest in maybe Red Deer, Alberta? In which city are you comfortable with to invest your money? So some of the considerations that you need to make before deciding which city do I want to invest in is, do I know that city? Do I know the population of that city? Is it growing? Do I know the rental market prices of that city? Are the units in that particular city vacant or they're filled most of the time? So out of those 5 cities, those are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself. Which city do you know the best? Which city are you comfortable with investing in. Okay guys, before we get into step number 6, for the small price of smashing that like button and subscribing to my channel, you really help me out, support this channel and reach out to more people. So if you find any value in whatever I'm telling you, make sure to do that. Now let's get into step number 6. After we've decided in which city do we actually want to invest in, the next big question is what kind of property do we want to buy? Do we want to buy a single family home? Do we want to buy a duplex? Do we want to buy a triplex as our first rental property? So that is another consideration that you guys need to make, and what is going to help you is reading those books, gaining as much knowledge as you can, because as you gain knowledge through all those different strategies in real estate like BRRRR investing, flipping, student rentals, as you gain more and more knowledge, you really know what suits you the best and what kind of property do you want to buy as your first rental property. Moving on to step number 7 is one of the most crucial steps that you'll find in the whole rental property buying process, which is building your power team. Who are the people in your power team? They should be a great realtor, a great lawyer, a great accountant, an insurance agent, and a mortgage broker. So you need to have a contact of all these 5 people that are going to help you throughout the whole process of buying your first ever rental property. Now, the question in your mind might be, how do I find a realtor that specializes in investment property? Well, a great way on how you can find a realtor that specializes in investment property is when you're talking to prospective realtors, ask them, do you have investment properties? Do you have rentals? Do you flip properties? And if the answer to that question from the realtor is yes, then you know that he knows what he's talking about and that he's going to be a great player to help you out buy your first investment property. Now, step number 8 of the whole rental property buying process is analyzing the numbers, which is one of my favorites. Why analyzing the numbers is one of the most important steps? Well, after analyzing your numbers, you should clearly know what is your monthly mortgage, what is your monthly insurance, taxes, utilities, all those expenses that you're gonna incur on a month-to-month basis by owning the property. And the other big thing that you should know also is what kind of rental price can you get from that property. So if it's a single family home, can you get $1,500? Can you get $1,400? So this is where having a power team of experts in that particular city is really going to help you out knowing all those kind of numbers. A quick tip for you guys is if you're actually buying property, a single family home is considered one door because there's only one way of making revenue from that property, which is from that whole unit. A duplex is actually considered 2 doors because from that actual property you're generating 2 incomes, and a triplex 3 doors, so you get the idea. So before buying, you actually want to maximize your rental revenue as much as you can. And last but not least, guys, pull the trigger. Don't get stuck into analysis paralysis. If you can afford the property, if it's a great deal, if it is in a great neighborhood, and if it is in a great city, go ahead, pull the trigger, put the down deposit and buy your first ever rental property. Don't just wait for the perfect moment to buy, actually buy and wait. That is my motto, buy real estate and wait, and you'll gain from appreciation, you'll gain from cash flow, you'll gain from mortgage pay down. There's a lot of benefits from owning real estate. Well, that was the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel as it really helps me out a lot to reach more and more people. And until the next time, see you guys there.